Hey everyone, this is Corey with Casual EDC, and today we're going to be taking a look at these two knives, which are very similar, but very different. So right here, we have a Trevor Burger Custom Knives EXK SFL, and here we have a Fred Burger and Boker Exskelibur 1. This happens to be a anniversary edition with the carbon fiber handles and blue anodized titanium liners, as well as pocket clip. So Fred Burger is the father of Trevor Burger, which is why you see the designs being basically the same aside from the size. And as I mentioned, this is a custom knife, and this here is made by Boker. So let's talk about the budget first. We have VG10 steel and a 3.5 inch blade, a titanium liner lock, as I had mentioned, a pocket clip, missing a pocket clip screw, just ignore that. And we also have proprietary South African style hardware. Here, this is very popular with South African makers. You do need a special bit to undo the pivot here, and the rest is using T6 pivot screws for construction, aside from the pocket clip, which is using a very small Phillips head bit for some reason. But this is running on Teflon washers, and it is actually pretty smooth. You can front flip this with your pointer finger from the top, just give it a little shake, and it falls shut pretty easily. The centering is pretty good with the tension I have on it now. No blade play or anything. Easy enough to flip open with your thumb. As I said, closes nice and smoothly. This one has a little bit of a weak detent. I don't know if that's the case for all of them, but this one does. This is used and been loved by the previous owner. I've carried it a little bit and just wanted to give a little bit of a comparison between these two pieces here. It's got a nice hollow grind, so it comes down to a pretty thin edge, all things considered. The blade stock is not very thick. You're looking at 1/8 of an inch, so 0.125 inches thick. And as I said, pretty smooth, running on Teflon washers, titanium liners, anodized to this nice blue, good contrast with the carbon fiber, which I think Boker did these pretty well. Moving on to the custom. You're looking at titanium handles with titanium pivot collars, T6 for the body screws, as well as the pivot screw, And I'm not sure if I mentioned, this is VG10 blade steel. But the custom here, you're looking at M390 blade steel, and as I said, this is a frame lock. Sorry about the camera shaking there, I bumped my desk. You also have blue anodizing on this one around the pivot collars, the backspacer, and the pocket clip, which you can see is just a milled titanium pocket clip opposed to an anodized, kind of more of a spring style clip here. Another big difference is that this is running on bearings. So this knife drops shut and flies open. It doesn't quite swing shut if I get my thumb out all the way, but it really wants to fall shut. It's super smooth, deploys in any way you need it, and I like the size a little bit better. This is a 2.75 inch blade, but size is irrelevant here. I'm just kind of making a direct comparison between what the differences are between the custom and a production version, because they do make a smaller version of this knife, the Boker Exskelibur 2. The only one I've been able to find in stock that's a front flipper is on Blade HQ. It's a little over $100. It's in Cocobolo wood and Damascus, so I think it's around $130. Whereas this guy I paid $60 for on the secondary market. I know they're about $110 or $120, brand new. And this guy here was $525 on the secondary market. But for a handmade custom coming out of South Africa, I know that these can go for a lot more. His most recent builds were titanium frame locks with a mammoth ivory inlay on this bottom portion of the handle that I'm covering now. So this was still titanium, but then this whole area down here was mammoth ivory, and those were $960 to be shipped anywhere in the world, which is kind of crazy. And but you know, that's the world of custom knives. You're still looking at a pretty thin grind. Of course, this is done by hand and not a machine, but it does get fairly thin behind the edge, and it comes down to a nice slicing edge on this hollow grind here. And I'll give you another view of the Boker version coming down the spine there. Hopefully you can see that a little bit, but they are just about the same thickness behind the edge. So I think it's obvious to say that build quality is something that you get you get a higher build quality from a custom maker. They're doing all these details by hand, and they are putting their time and their effort directly into the knife you're getting, opposed to a designer making the knife. In this case, Trevor Berger's dad, Fred. You put your design into place, and then you have a bunch of machines do it. And I'm sure Boker had either employees sharpen this, employees obviously put the knives together, but a lot of these parts are machine manufactured and not handmade. So you're losing that little bit of intimacy between the maker and the consumer. You're also getting better attention to fit and finish. That being said, quality control is going to be really good coming out of a popular brand like Boker. And the quality control can definitely slip from a custom maker. This one has a touch of up and down play. Not all the time, but there's a little bit now. Let's see if you can hear it. I'm not sure if the mic picked that up or not, but just a touch. It doesn't really move. It doesn't have any side to side. I've tuned that as good as I can, and there's just a touch of back to back. But as soon as you're holding this knife, you have a little bit of pressure on that lock bar. It really locks that in place, and that goes away with no issue. So it's just a matter of needing the lock to contact this lock interface a touch more towards the show side, maybe 0.5 millimeter. It doesn't take much at all. Another advantage here, you have bearings over the Teflon washers. So the Teflon washers can be easily shredded or destroyed, really, if you get any sort of gunk or grime in here. That being said, a washer knife is much better for kind of beating on and using in a dirty situation than a bearing knife would be, but Teflon, you kind of have to worry about it a little bit just because it is not as strong of a material as phosphor bronze, which I would have much preferred to see on here, because polished phosphor bronze washers, like here on this TRM Atom, as you can see, can be very smooth. You don't need to go with the plastic washers to get that kind of an action. Overall, I mean, if you have the money, these customs are fantastic. I can't stop fidgeting with this thing. I can't put it down. It's been in the pocket for 2 days now since it came in. You don't have to flip it if you don't want. You can honestly, you can get a thumb on there, which let's see if I can do it. Go down here. You can get a thumb on there and flick it, or I like to middle flick this too, which you can do with the Boker for sure. But if you have the money for a custom, these are incredibly nice. It's nice and tiny and compact and lightweight, which I like the size of this better, but he does make larger versions, so much more similar to this, as well as one in between with a 3.3 inch blade opposed to a 3.5. But if you like the design, you really can't go wrong. And if you don't have $500 to spend, keep an eye out on the secondary market for these guys. I know they also make a titanium version of this with S35VN, around for $130-ish, I want to say. I did not double check that, so please let me know if I am wrong in saying that. But these are very nice. The designs are really cool. You're getting a South African custom knife design for a pretty friendly price when you compare it to the customs, and this being from the secondary market, used, having a small scratch in the handle, which is a little tough to see, but it's right around this area. You really can't go wrong. I'm going to make another video shortly here talking about getting custom designs or high-end designers for a budget price, which I know a lot of you guys are more budget focused. A lot of our subscribers more on the budget side of things, so I want to be able to show you guys kind of how to get more premium designs or stuff made from custom designers or custom knife makers that production companies are releasing. So if you got the money, go for a custom. If you just like the design and don't want to spend that kind of dough, you can't go wrong with the Bokers here, especially with the titanium version. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you like, comment, and subscribe on this video. We always appreciate the support and the interaction, and I love the conversations down in the comments. You guys have a great rest of your day. Bye now.